What's up, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is your girl, Tiffany Nicole. Oh my God. This is going to be a good conversation. I'm super, super excited for my guests that are on tonight. For those of you that are coming on, we welcome you. We welcome you. Um, so tonight, first of all, I want to say I'm so glad for my guests for coming in. Thank you, ladies.
Welcome.
Um, but tonight episode is going to be just a little bit different from the rest. We're going to have a raw, authentic conversation. There's no judgment zone. Make it a safe place, and the church probably doesn't talk about this enough, and maybe the church should talk about it when it comes to mothers that have children incarcerated and the emotions that we go on and the roller coasters that we have, and us having children that are in prison. Sometimes we do get angry, we do get upset, and we do cry out and we do ask God certain questions like, Lord, why me? Why my child? Why my family? That is a thing that everybody that has a child that's in prison has asked themselves. I know I've asked myself that so many times. I've asked God that question. And if you're a mother who is in the beginning stages of navigating having a child incarcerated, this is a good episode for you because I want you to know that you're not alone to feel like this. You're not alone to have these emotions of these roller coasters of being angry and asking God, God, do you really love me? God, I thought you loved me. Why am I going through this? I thought I did everything right. And it's okay. And I just wanted to make it a safe place for this atmosphere. And tonight, I'm not alone. As you see, I have my beautiful guest on here tonight. You guys, welcome to my Child is in Prison Now What podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Nicole. I'm so honored and so blessed to have these powerful ladies on here tonight. Again, I have, so this is going to be funny, y'all. The names is here. I have Kimberly,
Hello.
and then I have Kim. So I have two people that names have the exact same name. So I'm super, super excited about that. And ladies, I thank you for joining me for this episode.
Thank you for
Thanks for
having me.
having us.
So, Kimberly, who I know, I've met Kimberly. We've been knowing each other for almost how many years now, Kimberly, has it been?
I think we met 2 years ago, maybe.
2 years ago. Yes, we've met
Years?
two
I can't
years
remember.
ago. And I'm super like, I don't know. I feel like you like my sister now, like, because we've done so much together already.
I feel the same way.
Right? Um, and Kimberly, tell people where you're located.
I'm in Georgia.
Okay. Okay. And then Kim, who I just met,
Hi.
I just met what, 24, 48. I mean, you've been part of the group, but
Yeah.
actually officially meeting you is today. And I'm so
Yeah.
happy to have you to join this conversation that we're having. Tell the people where you're located.
Yes, and I'm in Pennsylvania.
Yay, Pennsylvania. I love this. So, again, you guys, this is going to be a conversation. Again, we're just going to flow with it. And the people that are joining us live right now, welcome in. We welcome you in. And you have the right to leave a comment, to ask questions. And again, this is a safe place and no judgment because we can't judge anybody because I know I can't because I've done some things in my life. Child. Jesus. But first, we're just gonna open it up for a conversation for us mothers that have children that are incarcerated. Kimberly, now how long is your son have been incarcerated?
6 years.
6 years now. Okay, and Kim,
Mine is two.
two. Okay, so 6 years, Kimberly. You probably not probably you have been through all of that emotions. And how many children do you have?
I have three.
Three, and any grandchildren?
I have three grandchildren.
Okay, so definitely it has impacted your household drastically.
Definitely. Hmm.
Yes. Okay. Um, so here we go. Tell me, the topic of the conversation is I'm mad at God. I'm angry. Why did this happen to me? This is what we're going to talk about on this edition of My Child is in Prison Now What podcast with these lovely ladies. So Kim, give me a little bit information about your background and tell me, how long your child has been incarcerated.
Sure. So my child's been incarcerated for 2 years. Um, I have a very large family, so we're a blended family of nine. And the impact was immediate, not only just on me, but on my family. Um, his arrest was very public, so my children were bullied at school. I ended up having to pull one of my kids out to cyber school. Um, and also, I'm a teacher. So to be a teacher and having things be public was not only devastating, but it almost was, it felt like a life ending scenario for me.
Okay. A teacher. Wow, we're gonna
Yes,
touch on that because that's that's a
it
lot
was
there to
great.
unpack. Because
Yeah.
you're a teacher, because you're dealing with children. Now, what age group were you teaching?
So I do elementary students. I teach elementary students music. I'm a music teacher.
Music teacher. Okay. How long you been a teacher?
Oh, forever. I'm
Okay,
old.
you've been a teacher. Okay.
25 years.
Girl, you are not. Oh, you just
Yeah.
seasoned. That's it. You just seasoned. You just single season. That's all what it is.
Yeah. But it was, it almost was an immediate, it felt like um, a wall
Hmm.
of complete despair slash um, life. It felt like life ending, like I was going to die
Hmm.
physically, emotionally, like I was done. And
Absolutely.
it took my breath for about a year until I could breathe again.
Yes. I remember that first year with my son. Whew, child. I think I gained over 25 pounds. I think 30 pounds I gained that first year. That first year was a lot. So here's another one. Any of you guys can just chime in and answer. When did you realize when you realized your child was in prison, what was your first thought, your first emotion? Did you trust God in that moment? Were you angry with God? Like, what was your emotion when you first got that call of, Mom, I'm in jail?
So my son didn't call me and tell me he was in jail. I was actually at work and my neighbor called and told me there was a whole bunch of police officers at my house. Um, I kind of had a feeling what it was about because before I went to work that day, I could tell my son was something was going on. And I was on Facebook at work and I saw a whole bunch of news articles about it. And it didn't mention my son, but then when my neighbor called me, I knew that it had to do with what I was seeing on Facebook, and I was devastated because I never thought my son would.
It's okay.
Yep. I'm with you.
I
It's
never
okay.
thought it would be my son
Hmm.
for what he got arrested for.
Right. Yes, we always think, I never thought it could be my son because we did X, Y, and Z. Uh, Kim, do you want to chime in on that? Go ahead.
Oh yeah, and Kimberly, I feel like probably all of the moms or families watching could say the same thing. But I was in disbelief. I didn't believe it. I thought it was a lie until I was able to speak with him, and I could tell by the sound of his voice that it was true. Um, and I think for me, and I don't know if any of you guys feel this way, it has been a series over the course of my life of the worst case scenario happening. So when this happened, I thought, what did I do to God? What why is he punishing me so desperately? I was so angry because of I really felt like I have been a dedicated Christian. I have served, I've survived two very extreme tragedies, and now here's this. Like he must have left me, and I didn't understand why. And I think it was in that desperation that this black hole emerged, and I couldn't get out of it for a while.
So when did you have that moment though, both of you ladies, is where you sat in the house or in the car where you like, this is where you question God and you're just like, God, I'm mad. I'm angry. Cause I talk to God a little bit. I'm a little semi hood. I love Jesus, but I be hood with Jesus. Cause I was like, God, what the hell? That's how I was. That's how my
Yeah.
relationship is with God. Cause everybody has their own journey. But I know, like, what was your thoughts? Like, I don't know, where do you remember the actual day and where you were at when you was like, God, I'm mad?
So for me, I hadn't been to church for a long time
Okay.
before my son got arrested. My friends invited me to church after it happened, um, and it was okay. But after that, I was just like, I just didn't feel the same way about God anymore, and I just wanted to know, like, why us? And I still don't know, so I'm still kind of angry. It's been 6 years, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm still angry.
So when you said, so when you went to church in that moment, what were you feeling?
Just sadness.
Okay.
It was hard because the victim in my son's case was a deputy in our county, and there was a lot of deputies there at the church when I went.
Okay.
It was really hard to see them there, and just I kind of felt like the we watched a movie, um, and I kind of felt um, like it was. I don't know if you've seen the movie that's based off the song "I Can Only Imagine." Um, we watched that movie, and it kind of made me think of my son and his dad and things like that. So that hit me kind of hard too, and just a lot of things. I kind of wish I didn't go that day, but
Oh, when you said you wish you didn't go to the actual court date to actually,
no, the church that day.
oh, the church that day.
Mhm,
Okay. Okay.
mhm.
And then Kim.
Yeah, so I was at work when I found out, and then I came home, and I it sounds crazy now, but I fell to the ground, and I told my husband, I looked at it dead in the face, and I said, "Take our youngest and go away. You need to move out. You need to leave. You don't need to go through this." And he didn't leave, but that's when my anger for God, he walked out of the room to give me a minute, but I was so angry, verbally screaming. Thank God forgives, because I don't know if I would forgive me for what I said that day, and in that moment of anger and disbelief. And it took me a long time to go back to church. I still don't go super regularly as a musician. I get called to help people, like play, which I don't mind doing. But my moments are one on one with God, but I don't necessarily feel comfortable to relax in a group setting right now at church.
Okay. Okay. Um, I can relate to all of those things that you guys said. On so many different levels when it comes to that. I want to touch on uh you said you went to church that day, Kimberly. Was something in that sermon that triggered you? Because I know you're saying you wish you never went that
Just
particular
just
day.
the things I talked about, like with the deputies being there
Okay.
and watching that movie and stuff, it just kind of like hit me harder. Um, about like it just made me think about everything and stuff, and
Okay.
yeah, it was hard.
Okay. Um, yeah, 'cause I was thinking this with my conversation with God. I was like, Damiani came from, first of all, he came from a dysfunctional family because I'm just his mama dysfunctional. It's all whatever. That's just how it is, right? But we went to church, Bible study. Damiani was on, he did like the Easter speech. Damiani was like the team captain for Bible study. And what else? Damiani was football player, like he was in all the school activities. So, in my mind, and for the mothers that are listening, I need you guys to really wrap your head around this. In my mind, I thought that I checked all the boxes
Right.
off. And I don't know what the hell those boxes are, because they really are no boxes. Because when there's no tools, or there's no, like they say there's a handbook for parenting, but sometimes it's not. And I thought I did everything right. And Kimberly knows my cousin Kendrick, and my cousin Kara. I'm gonna say her full government name. My cousin Kara Thomas. Kara Thomas, I'm saying your full name on this live because she knows that I would say this back in the day. I promise y'all, I would be at the football games and I would see some like some kids that were older and they were like, in gangs and all this and drugs. And I would always say, like, the devil's not gonna have my child. I rebuke that. The devil can have somebody else's child, but not mine. And I would say those things like that. And Damiani would wake up with holy oil on his forehead. He would wake up with holy oil on his feet, hands, and even the doorknob. And he would always be like, Mom, I'm sweating. I'd be like, oh boy, that's just oil. So I just knew that my son wouldn't
Right.
get shot, wouldn't be in gangs, wouldn't go to prison, but he ended up going that direction. And that is where I got mad at God in my process of having a child incarcerated. That's where I got upset, is because I thought, again, as humans, we think that, God, I did X, Y, and Z. I did this in the church. I did this.
Right.
And I thought that I did everything
Good.
right. You know what I'm saying? You think that, but in all actuality, that's not how God thinks.
Right.
So I was angry too with God, and I was angry. I'm not sure if you guys were angry with your family members, because I cussed out Kimberly. I think I cussed out Kara a couple times. We argued a couple times. So I'm not sure if you did that, Kimberly, with your family, or Kim, if you guys are, because I was angry with everybody and even God.
No, I wasn't. Like, I didn't get angry with my family. Actually, my son's case was very public also.
Okay.
I went on Facebook. There was some horrible comments on
Oh.
there. My daughter's my voice of reason, and she just told me, she's like, Mom, don't read them. Like, stay off Facebook for a while. Don't go on social media. So I wasn't angry with my family. I was angry with my son. Very angry. I'm still kind of angry with him. I'm angry at the kid who did it. I'm angry at the choice the 4 boys made that day. And the police officers. It was just a big old mess, but never the rest of my family. They're the ones who have helped me get through this.
Okay. And then Kim, for you, with your family or friends?
Yep. And I had a little bit of a different experience because my son, I found out at about middle school that he was gay. And I kind of always suspected.
Okay.
And I don't, that doesn't bother me. I raised him very lovingly, but I live in a very small redneck kind of town. And even in the church that we had attended at the time, I had tried to reach out to the pastor, and he was like, sorry, we can't help you. And I was, and some of my in-laws, they were not opening or welcoming to him, lots of comments. So I think my son rejected faith in probably middle school, high school. He started rejecting him.
Because the church rejected him when he was gay. Got you. Makes sense.
And so when everything happened, I felt abandoned. People didn't talk to me. I have people that have still not mentioned my son's name. Or, hey, Kim, are you okay? You're going, and so I felt this hypocrisy of Christians. If someone had passed away, people knock at your door with a casserole but here you're going through the worst thing you could ever fathom in your head, and it's crickets. So, I was pretty angry that people abandoned me, because I didn't do it. My children didn't do it. And yet I am suffering so deeply, and I didn't. And Tiffany, I will say, your group saved my life. I'm not kidding. Because I didn't know there was no one to talk to. People scatter sometimes at these things. And I will never be able to thank you enough for your group. Because I met some friends that I've been able to communicate with. And then I realized I'm not alone. So I did have some anger. I still do, which isn't cool, especially as a Christian. I forgive my son. I actually am surprised I don't have as much anger toward him as maybe deserved. But I do, it's hypocritical, but I do have some anger because I felt abandoned by people I thought.
By the church, yeah.
By the church and people who call themselves Christian,
Okay. So I want to ask both of you guys this question. So Kim, I know you go to church. So, and then Kimberly, you went to church, and then Kimberly, are you back in the church, or you don't even go to church at all?
No, I don't go to church.
Okay. So I don't know if you know the story about Jesus before Jesus was going to get crucified, right? The reason why I say this is because people fail to forget that sometimes Jesus went through some stuff too, where I think it's in Matthews 26 and 39, right? Because I do believe in God, and I know I'm no longer angry. I was angry. I went to therapy, and I went back to my spiritual mentor. Prophet Katara is my spiritual mentor who got me through so many dark seasons. And I do believe in a therapist, and I do believe in a spiritual mentor, and I got to give her a shout out. Prophet Katara is like the G for me. She is my lifeline with God. But I do remember in the passage where it's Jesus, and he's like, I think he's like, this is where it's him and God only, and God is telling him like, this is where you're about to carry this cross, and you're about to be crucified, and this is where God is questioning, or Jesus is questioning God about this situation. So sometimes as humans, I feel like it's okay to question God, but you also can't forget that um, if God allowed Jesus to be crucified, you get what I'm saying? And for our sons to go to prison and for the situation to be crazy, it's like so many people in the Bible, like Job didn't ask for this either. Like Job didn't ask for this situation when Job lost everything. Job lost, I think he had like five girls and five boys. That's 10 children. They all died. Job didn't ask for that. So it's sometimes in my opinion, that's where the healing comes from when you really do seek God and you look at these passages in the scriptures that's in the Bible where if Jesus went through it, then what makes me different from Jesus? You get what I'm saying? Do you guys
Yeah.
want to just to talk about that?
For
Like
me,
what gets us? Yeah.
I hike a lot, and sometimes when I hike alone, I talk to God. I have
Mm-hmm.
lost my faith, but I still believe in God.
Mm-hmm.
I talk to him. He hasn't answered me yet because I do ask him why. So I just feel like until he does answer me, like then maybe I won't be so angry anymore. Maybe when I know why. I do believe that there's a reason for everything. I
Mm-hmm.
believe this happened with my son for a reason. I do believe if he was still out on the streets, he may not be here any longer. Um, it's hard to say because the summer it happened, he did like start calming down a little bit and he wasn't running the streets as much and stuff. But I do believe he may, something worse may have happened. But I just feel like once God answers me, maybe I won't be so angry when I know why.
But I think you might have answered your own question. Listen to what you just said. You said you're waiting for God to give you an answer about why. And you just said, if my son would have been out, he could have been at the graveyard.
But I don't
So
know if that's the answer for sure. I just want a for sure answer. I want to know why my son is paying for somebody else's choice. Not saying my son's innocent. He made a
right,
choice.
right, right, right. Right, right. He made right.
He paid
Right. He
for
made his
his
own choice.
he
Right.
paid for his part in the situation.
Right.
But he's also paying for somebody else's choice in the situation. And
Mhm.
that's where I'm really angry because I don't know why he has to be paying for something somebody else chose to do.
It's more of like a logistics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have it's crazy. But believe, like, I don't know, maybe 8-10 years ago, I actually did jail ministry through my church. And I did it for a while and it was awesome. I loved it. In a way, I feel like maybe God was preparing me for this experience. But I had pulled out, this is the book I went to get. This Life Recovery Bible
Mhm.
is the Bible we would give the prisoners through Celebrate Recovery.
Mhm.
And I pulled it out after a little while, after everything happened with my son. And I would encourage anybody who is watching to get this Bible. It's called the Life Recovery Bible, because in it, I'm a music teacher. I'm not I'm an English teacher, so sometimes reading I get a little glazed eyes. But
Right.
there are these summaries and little thoughts, and I happened to pull to a summary about Judas, and it said, if Judas hadn't killed himself, he could have been the most amazing prophet to ever live.
Mhm.
And he's the one that killed Jesus, right? So when I read
He's the
that,
one that he's the one that betrayed Jesus.
Yeah. So if he, who is the one who betrayed Jesus, right? If he could be forgiven
Mm-hmm.
and take God's name and could have made it a ministry,
Mm-hmm.
then couldn't anybody be? And when I read that, I thought, well, that's crazy. It blew my mind. If Judas could have been forgiven, then why couldn't my son? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was really life altering. The other thing I read, and I just read this the other day, was when bad things happen, people tend to go, "Why me?" Which I did.
We all do that. We're all
When
human. We all do that.
we could say, "Okay, what do I do with this? What's
Right.
my next step?" Um, because the reality is, I don't think I could never get in my son's head and understand what made him do what he did. I have no, there's
Absolutely.
nothing he could even say that will make me understand it.
Absolutely.
But I can't change it anymore. It's done. 2 years, it's over. And so what I'm trying to do now is use the experience to grow my faith. So I'm actually doing a ministry called Life's Key, and it's with prisoners, and it's just paper,
Mm-hmm.
and I write, just help write the answers for prisoners, but I'm just trying to explore ways to use this experience.
Right. Um, but I want to bring it back to what Kimberly is saying, because that's what this audience is about right now. Is about mothers, the struggles that us mothers face, and what Kimberly is saying is is key. Like a lot of people think like the way she's thinking. She's not the only one that thinks like
No.
that. And the question is, how do you get unstuck from a place of where I believe God, however, I'm still mad or I'm just still questioning God. And back to you, Kimberly, is where you want God to give you answer. How do you want God to give you an answer? Because God is not human, so He
Mhm.
can't just knock on the door or text you and be like, "Hey, Kimberly, this is why." So, how do you want God to speak to you to give you the answer?
Um, um, I haven't thought about that. I mean, he's not. I'm not going to be shown with my son being in prison. I'm
Hmm.
not going to get the answer from that. But people do say they hear God speak to them. Um,
Right.
maybe that's how I just really haven't thought about that yet, honestly. I just feel like if he is going to give me the answer, I'll know when he gives it to me.
Okay.
It'll be some way and I'll just know. So,
You'll just know.
mhm,
Okay. I love that because God does speak. He
mhm.
does. He does speak to us. The thing is, do we have an ear to hear? So I don't know. Is have you prayed to ask God to give me an ear to hear your voice?
I have, yes.
Okay. Okay.
I've
Well,
asked him
yes,
to tell me why.
yes.
Um,
And I
I've
think that
asked
you're
him to
not
release
mad,
me
mad.
to.
Because you still talk to him. It's
Mhm.
almost like if you in a relationship with a guy, and we all been in relationships. Because I know I've been in some relationship with some no good men, and I knew I shouldn't have been in. But anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. It's like, remember how you in a relationship with someone and you're mad at them, and maybe you need a break for them, or you guys go silent, or and then that's where the communication comes in, where you guys are both communicating. And I think at some part of your journey with God, Kimberly, is that God is going to show you and God is going to reveal that to you. But in the midst of that, I believe that's where we have to seek God, because that's where I got my healing from. Is I started seeking God for the answers, the questions that I have. And some questions I still ask God, I still haven't got an answer for. And I'm still waiting. But I truly believe, Kimberly, you're helping so many mothers who are at the same place that you are. And what are the things that you would tell a mom that's at the same place that you are right now?
Um, I don't know because it's just hard because we all like take things differently. Um, a lot of things, my son has told me a lot of times, like, you still have to live your life. If going to church is part of that, then that's what you should do. But going back, I am still really angry at God. I still believe in God. I talk to him and stuff, but I'm still very angry. Um, I'm sure eventually that, to me it's been 6 years, but it's been a fast 6 years, so it still feels fresh. Like, it doesn't feel like it's been 6 years. So to me, it doesn't feel like I've been angry for that long. If you think back, 6 years is a long time,
It
but
is.
the way it's going so fast and stuff, and I know for my son it's not going fast, but for me it's gone so fast, and it's just like, I don't know, it's still fresh. So that's just how I feel. In order, like, advice for other mothers, I don't know, because everybody's different. You can't tell somebody how to deal with things because they're going to deal with it in their own way. Um, so yeah.
True. True. Are you attempting to maybe make that first step to go to a church?
No.
Okay.
So honestly, the mountains are my church. That's where I feel his spirit the most.
Okay.
I do believe that God moved me to Georgia for a reason,
Okay.
and that I moved close to the mountains because I feel like he knew I needed that for my spirituality. Um, so that's where I go, and that's where I pray. And I honestly, I feel the same way Kim does. A lot of Christians are hypocrites to me. They go to church on Sunday and then they sin all week. They judge people. They feel like their sins are less than other people's sins when they're not. And I don't want to be around people like that, honestly, because that totally wipes out the purpose of faith to me. So yeah, so I would rather praise him by myself.
Kim, do you want? I have something to say, but I'm gonna let Kim. Do you want to say something? Because the Bible says, "When two or three are touched and agree, He will be in the midst." And I feel like Kimberly, you and I are we we're from each other's hometown. I'm originally from Elgin, Illinois. I reside in Los Angeles. For those of you who do not know who I am, I'm originally from Elgin, and Kimberly is from Elgin as well. I didn't know her in Elgin, but I believe in my heart of hearts that God brought us together for a reason, and the devil does mean things for your bad, and God makes it for your good. And I don't do religion. But I do believe I don't put my faith in man, but I don't know if you're at the place where you can ask God, like, it's time for you to order my steps to be around the right people who are spiritual, who can pour into me. And sometimes we always question God, God, God. No judgment again, but sometimes we have to sit and pull out that mirror and look at us.
Oh,
And
I would agree.
This is where people don't want to do the soul searching and be like, I messed up here. As you know what I'm saying? Like, I know me and Damiani, I'm not sure if you guys can relate to this. Have you had that hard conversation with your son or daughter that's in prison? Like, where did I fail you as a mother? That's a tough question. And that's a mature question. And I've asked Damiani that question. Where did I fail you at? Where did I drop the ball? And I didn't like his response, but that's how he felt. Like, going back to Kimberly, what you said is like, that's how he feels. I can't take away his feelings. Have you guys ever asked your son those questions?
Yeah.
I've never asked my son. He has told me himself.
Okay.
And I see that there are many things I could have done differently as a mother. But I was a single mom. Him and my second daughter, my middle child, they had a lot of mental health issues growing up. I was tired. I tried to get him help. I tried. I felt like nobody would help me, and I was just tired. So I sent him to live with his dad, which was a mistake. He lived there for 4 years. It messed him up pretty bad. So yeah, I do blame myself. He's told me that, he has feelings of like blame towards me, and I get that. It hurts, but I was glad he could be honest. But now he tells me that he still feels like I could have done things differently, but he knows that I did the best I could,
Mm-hmm.
and that everything I did was because I wanted the best for him.
Mm-hmm.
So now he sees that. One good thing about him being in prison is we've gotten a closer relationship,
Oh,
because when he
that's
came back
good.
from living with his dad, we did not have a good relationship at all. He pushed away from me so much. But now he knows that I will always be there for him. And we've gotten a lot closer. So,
Praise God. Kim, you want to chime in on that one?
Well, I want to fly to Georgia and give Kimberly a hug. If you don't mind me being really blunt.
I would hope so. You on my podcast. I don't want nobody that's on here that's fake,
She's
girl.
very blunt herself. So
Kimberly, I just don't think that's a very fair for you to. I don't think it's fair that you take the blame, because I don't think that's true. You know, we could speak to 100 different people with 100 different upbringings, some great, some horrible, but the choices people make, I don't think are indicative of a childhood. You know what I'm saying? Every day we turn on the news and read of horrible cases of children living in squalor, and you know, people make choices, but you aren't to blame for the choice your son made. You really aren't. We make decisions as mothers, the best decisions we can with the information we have at hand. You made the best decision for your son with the information you had. You can't see the future. You can't predict, and you are not the reason your son made the choice. I question myself, oh, what if, but what if he had stayed with you and this, it doesn't mean the same thing wouldn't have happened. That's not fair, and that's not accurate. And maybe some of the anger is gone, but maybe you're angry at yourself. And if I can be your friend and just tell you that that's not true, and it's not fair that was placed on you, and I'm telling you, you are not the reason your son made the choice that he made. It's just not true. And I'm really sorry.
The reason that we're doing this is because in part of a post that I wrote, because I was speaking to a pastor at my work, and he was telling me pretty much the same thing. He told me that everyone's cross is their own to bear.
Amen.
You cannot bear somebody else's cross. And I understand that. Like, it hit me in the heart, but I'm still his mother. Absolutely. There were still things that we went through when he was younger that I'm always going to blame myself for, because I could have been a better mother to him. I'm not saying that his choice is my fault. I will never think that. But I do believe if I would have pushed harder to get him help or done things differently, that maybe he wouldn't be where he's at right now. And that's always going to be something that's within me. I've learned to not feel it so much, but I'm always going to feel that.
I'm just going to ask you, though, when you think that, to say, maybe if I did things different, it would have ended up different. However, there's a possibility that even if I did things different, we would still be in the same position. Because I think all of us moms, and I see on all the posts that we all write every day, we all do the same thing. What was my contribution? So, you know, yes, maybe if you did things differently, things would be different, but sweetie, maybe not. I don't, you know, maybe not, because my son, with the traumas that we went through, I think, oh my God, what if, and it was my counselor that said to me, he said, Kim, what if you did it differently? And the outcome was the same. You'd be kicking yourself the other way around.
And the reason why the outcome will be the same at the end of the day is because all things work together for your good, because God is in it either which way you go. Again, if you didn't have a child in prison, if I didn't have a child in prison, we would know each other. I wouldn't have started a community for mothers in a private Facebook group that can share, can vent, can cry, and it's a safe space. I wouldn't have met over those 4,000 women that's in that Facebook group, and that other, and the 4,500 that's here that's subscribed to. I wouldn't know these people if we all didn't have a child in prison. And I know it's tough. I do know. And then I know, Kim, you said you're no longer in that place of being angry, and your son's been in prison for 2 years now. How did you get out of that place?
So maybe because of my job, I'm a big researcher. Okay. I had to understand I'll never understand what he did, but I had to understand the rest of it. And where does this random woman from Pennsylvania fit in with all of this? And like I said, when I realized, because my first thought was, is he going to go to hell? Is this it? Is this even forgivable? And then I learned it was. And then, I realized the devil got a great hold of my son. He took it and ran. But now my son is saved. So even though he will be in prison for a long time, at the end of the day, I know if he maintains his faith, we will be together eternally. And I'm so grateful for that. But also, I can make a difference in the world, and I can use this horrible, the worst case scenario for good. And I have to focus on that or I go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I go crazy. I there's just too much of my own life left.
That is true. Because here's a question. If you guys don't wake up tomorrow and you get to the kingdom and you see God, Tupac, and Biggie,
You see my shirt?
and oh yeah, that's why I said it because I saw your shirt. If you don't wake up tomorrow and you sit at the throne and God gonna ask you, that was all part of the plan. And what's gonna be your answer?
I'll probably just ask him why.
He's gonna say
Why was this?
all because he has something in store for all of us. Like the when I say the devil really do mean it for your bad, he really does. He wants you to stay in the place where it's like this, but God wants to birth something out of you. I don't know what your purpose is or what your talent is or what God wants you to do. I believe Kim, you're starting something for the inmates. Maybe that's the lane that God wants you to push out to
Mm,
birth in this season. I'm not sure. I'm not a prophet because I
yeah.
trust me, I ain't a prophet. But I'm just saying maybe that's where God wants to push you and to
Mm,
elevate you. And then Kimberly, I know you shy, but you're not shy because I think once you get around a circle of females that you can trust and the community that I built, I personally believe that you trust those women in that circle, and you have a powerful story. And I truly believe in my heart of hearts, maybe not now, maybe not tomorrow, but you can be a blessing for other mothers
right.
who are in your place right now, and you're going to teach them and show them how you got from here to there. It might have took you a little bit longer, but I truly believe that for you, Kimberly, because you have a sweet soul, a sweet spirit about you. You're so sweet, and I know that, and I can feel your burden right now. If you just, I can feel it through this right now, and I just want to let you know that maybe that's where, maybe this is where God is shaping you right now. Like diamonds are formed under pressure, intense pressure, and maybe God wants you to be that voice for others who are mad.
Mm,
Have you ever thought about that?
So actually, I do because when I was younger,
Hmm.
I went to church camp.
Okay.
When I was a child, we went to church. We lived right next to the church. We went to church every Sunday. We did all the church activities and stuff. I grew up in the church. I went to church camp. I don't remember old I was. I had to be like 9 or 10. And we were sitting around a campfire. And the lady who was over our group was saying that one of the people in the group was like, I can't remember that many years ago.
Hmm.
I can't remember the exact words, but basically she was saying that when that person got older, they would see their purpose and they would know the reason why um, they were there, basically. And I knew she was talking about me.
Mm.
She told me afterwards she was talking about me. So I think about that a lot. I do like come back to that and be like, well, what is that purpose? When am I going to know when that purpose is? Because I don't know yet. Um, you know, life goes so fast.
Hmm.
Um, I don't want to be at the end of my life and not know what that purpose was. I do believe it has something to do with my son being in prison, but I don't know exactly what it is right now. So I'm just waiting for the answer.
I'm gonna say this about waiting. Sometimes we can wait on the bus and sometimes you be waiting and waiting, but sometimes God waiting on us. Sometimes it ain't even about God. Can I just be honest? Because God told me to create a podcast years ago, and I was like, yeah, yeah, whatever. And then I kept, and it was just in my heart, in my spirit, so strongly. And sometimes us believers that be waiting on God, I think sometimes we miss out on a blessing because we waiting too long. Sometimes it got nothing to do with the God or the devil. And the devil probably happy that you still sitting on it. Because if you do wake up one morning, Kimberly, and say, I'm gonna do this, you know how many women that you're gonna touch?
but
that
I
are
don't
yeah.
know just yet what this is. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I don't know. I'm not the kind of person who could have a podcast, honestly. I'm an introvert. I'm not I I couldn't be a teacher. I could probably go to the jails and not minister, but tell my son's story. Um, I
Or the
just
mountains. You
know.
can start a walking group for the mountains and just
Yeah.
you can literally Kimberly, you're introvert, you love to walk. You can just
Mm,
co and you're in Georgia, there's a lot of people there's
Yeah.
1.8 million people that are incarcerated. 1 out of 4 people has a loved one that's in prison.
mm,
You can literally create a small community in Georgia where you take ladies and just walk to the mountains and just sit,
Just walk.
and just be quiet and just listen to nature.
mm.
Since you really love that, that's something that you can just do, and that doesn't have to be on social media, it doesn't have to be that's and God can be like, "That's what I wanted you to do, because you're not the only introvert out there. Imagine
Mhm.
other mothers that's in the same shoes that are introvert, but would love to walk with you because you are so sweet and amazing
Thank
and just like nature." I don't know, I'm just planting that seed in you,
you. That would be something to look into.
right?
Mhm.
Kim, what you guys I know you got something to say, Kim, because I can see it in your eyes, girl.
Well, I just feel like uh Kimberly, like creating even a community within Tiffany's group, and you know communicating with other moms, just talking, even if it's about the weather. Hey, how is your son doing? And giving his identity back in
Mhm.
your book, because that's what really helped me. Because a mom anonymously posted on Tiffany's group probably a year and a half ago, does anybody else have a son with charges, which was mine? And I said, PM me. And do you know, we've met, we traveled to meet each other, and I've met her son in prison. And I have this little family that I didn't have before. And now I'm not so lonely in this scenario. And I would be happy to be a part of your friendship, even if it's just on Facebook, to touch base and talk, because um, ministering and just communicating with other moms has made me realize that God put people who I needed to go through this,
Mhm.
because I didn't have anybody else. And then when he gave me you guys, and then all of a sudden I think that was another layer of me, maybe my anger going away, because he didn't make my son do what he did,
Right.
but he could give me the tools to walk through this. And this group that Tiffany created was part of my journey. And just being able to have somebody on the other end that knows exactly what I'm going through helps
Mm.
a lot.
Oh my god, it does, because so many mothers, when you talk to, like, I don't know, a coworker or friend, they don't really understand the nights that we're paced back and forth. If your son got in a fight, or if your daughter got in a fight, or if your child is about to be in solitary confinement, people don't understand that. People say like, "Oh, they say, "Oh, I'm sorry," but you ladies understand when Damiani was in solitary confinement for almost 2 years, y'all felt that pain. And that's why God had me commute to create a community and a safe place for us, because it is hard. Um, some days I'm not okay, but I keep telling myself that Job, that's in the Bible, went through X, Y, and Z. Jesus had to go to the cross for me. And he even asked God why. And Moses questioned God. All these people questioned God. But when you look at it in hindsight, when you look at the other side of the story, it was victory at the other side of the story of. So I'm like, okay, God, I get it. I'm going to carry, like Kimberly, you said, carry your own cross. I'm carrying my own cross. Is it heavy? Yeah, it's heavy. But I know there's victory on the other side. What does your sons tell you about do they even talk about God? Do they have a relationship with God? Do you pray with your sons on the phone? What does that look like for you guys?
So, my son he's mixed. He is around a lot of the Muslims.
Okay.
He was converted to being a
Be a
Muslim.
Muslim. And they're very disciplined, right? Aren't they?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, here in Georgia, no,
Okay.
not really.
Okay.
There's a lot. These prisons here, I know they're horrible everywhere, but here they're
Right.
really horrible, and it's usually the Muslims and the gangs that
Okay.
are against each other. But
Okay.
they do pray a lot and everything. Um, my mom was upset when I told her, but I told her, like, if it helps him get through, I'm gonna support that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that we cannot tell somebody else what what God to believe in. Everybody, I would not want somebody to come to me, even though I'm angry at God, and tell me that God is not real. That I shouldn't believe in the God I believe in. I'm not gonna tell my son that either. And if his faith is helping him while he's in there, I'm all for it. So,
And Kim, what about you and your son?
So when he was arrested and went to prison, I would have said he was an angry atheist.
Oh, okay.
And oddly enough, his first cellmate was a transsexual, diehard Christian. And
Okay.
I think would have been the only person that could have gotten through to my son. And my son converted and became a Christian in his first county jail. And I didn't believe it at first because, like I said, he was a very angry atheist prior to his arrest. And over time, through his words and actions, and I don't force people or anybody, and I don't want it to be fake. It has to be his decision to make. He's maintained his faith and has even, helped minister a little bit to other men that are incarcerated that are in suicide watch or scared. Um, so his faith has grown, and I hope and pray that over time that'll continue. Um, but it, I think God prepared the most craziest, perfect scenario for my son to be to get his faith.
Oh, wow. Okay. Do you pray with him too on
I
the
do
phone?
sometimes. Yeah, I
Okay.
do sometimes.
Okay. Kimberly, does your son pray with you? I know he's
um,
Muslim, but does he still be like, Mom, let me pray?
and he'll no, not really.
Okay.
I
Okay.
don't know if it's because we don't like have the same faith.
Okay.
But no, he doesn't. But he does tell me when he prays and things like that. So
Okay. Okay. So Kimberly, well, I know, girl, we gonna eventually. I know it takes steps. You
mhm.
said 6 years. You've had. I'm not sure. Have you guys been to therapy before? I've been in therapy.
I've been thinking about it. I haven't done it yet. It's very hard for me. I don't know if it shows, but it's very hard for me to talk about personal things. But I do feel like I need to get into therapy.
Yeah. Therapy has changed my life because I was angry and I was mad. I'm not mad anymore. I'm not like I was before. If my mama was on here, if she watching, she would tell you that I was angry. That I was angry with her too. But thank God for therapy did help me. I would suggest strongly to dive into therapy because I therapy and God, that's truly where your healing comes from. I personally but truly believe that. Kim, you've been to therapy too
Yeah,
before?
I have a therapist that
Okay.
has walked with me the last 2 years through this scenario, and the little bit of wisdom that he's instilled in me, I think about it every day. Um, the other thing I do is I bought like a little notebook, and I just write things down, and it's kind of like a daily mantra. So if I'm having a bad day or a bad moment,
Mhm.
I pull it out and I just remind myself some of these things because my mind will go, "Oh my God, what? I'm panicking. What happened? I can't believe this is my life. I can't believe." And then I pull it out and I can pull myself back to zero. Because one thing
Right.
my counselor says is you only want to try to be around plus or minus one. This scenario brought me to a minus a gazillion.
Mhm.
So now I've worked my way back. So I try to just stay right around that midpoint.
Right. It's not an overnight thing though. It
Mm-mm.
took me a long time. So, um, I don't know. I think therapy, not I don't know. No, I do know therapy has changed my life, and I strongly believe for us mothers that have children that are in prison, because we do the guilt game where I blame me, and at the end of the day, we made mistakes. I know I made plenty of mistakes, and there's probably things I should have did different with Damiani, and I just didn't know better, and or I was just, I don't know, young and not really, my mind was somewhere else. And I think it's okay for us to, I think we need to forgive ourselves as parents.
Mm.
I think that's one of the things that I do stress in the group is to forgive yourself.
It's hard though. It's very hard.
Yeah. Um,
I just feel like before my son got arrested, like I would hear about other people who have children in jail or prison, and like I would be like, well, they're still there. You know, you can see them. It can't be that hard. And then my son got arrested, and I cried for a year. Like I'm not, I know it doesn't seem like it, but I'm not a very emotional person, but I cried more in that year than I had my whole life.
oh wow.
Um, like now it's hard for me to cry, even when I think about him and stuff, but I just, it's devastating, and it's just hard to process that your child, especially when you have to think you may never see your child. My son was 17 when he got arrested. He got sentenced to life. I may never see my son outside of prison again. He may never be able to have a family. He always talks about my mom passing away and how he's not going to be able to handle that. And she can't go visit him because he's 3.5 hours away and she can't ride that far. He hasn't seen her in person since the day he was arrested. It's just a lot of stuff, and like it's just devastating, and every, you would think it gets easier, but to me every year that goes by it gets harder. And I do believe I need therapy because it weighs on me a lot.
Yeah.
I joke a lot and I laugh a lot because that's how I get through, but deep down inside, like I'm not okay.
Yeah. I definitely think therapy is a key to success.
Yes.
And also realizing, though this is certainly not the life we wanted for any of our children, there's still a life there, whatever that looks like. And his life isn't over. Thank God he's alive, and you still have the ability to communicate with him, see him, visit him. Like I am waiting the day that I can hug my son again. It's just through a glass that I see him for 2 years. And
because he's in county right now,
he's in,
or has he been he's in county, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I crave that moment to physically touch him and just hold him. And I know there are lots of moms that whose children, God forbid, have passed. So I still can hear his voice. So I feel lucky that he's still alive.
What I want to say is that I think this is where we need to truly find out why God created us. Because, like Kimberly, if anything can happen, though, God has the key to the king's heart. He can turn it which way for your son's case. I know it's a serious case because I know the case you told me about it. But anything can happen. But have you and your son had that conversation, like, Mom, if I do end up serving life, what are you going to do in that time frame? Have you guys had that conversation?
No, I mean, he does talk about maybe never coming home and stuff, but he just tells me I still have to live my life, like that he doesn't want me to be depressed, that it's like easier for him if he knows that we're doing okay. So I try not to tell him when I'm not okay anymore, because I know it's hard on him. But no, we haven't really had that conversation. I'm sure we will at one point. But I really try, like in the back of my mind, it's there that he may never come home, but I really try not to think about that.
Right. Because I just always believe that there's purpose in this pain. There is purpose, and I know, Kimberly, you're angry, and then Kim, you're no longer angry with God. I just truly believe in my hearts of hearts that the Bible talks about how God said that you're going to have tribulations in life. You're going to have problems in life, but God is with you through your problems and through your trials. And I truly believe when you really seek his face, not his hand, but seek his face to the core. Um, and sometimes I also believe that um, to find out who you are as a woman, not as a mother, not as a friend, not as a cousin. And maybe in this season, I've been there before where I've done a lot of things in my life. And I was like, let me turn over my plate and not eat. And let me go on a fast and seek God for him because I had identity issues and didn't know who I was as a woman. But now I know who I am. And I know that God said in the Bible that he created us just a little bit lower than the angel. That's how powerful we are as mothers.
Mhm.
Um, and therapy truly will get to the core. I truly believe that. Um, for the mothers that are, there's mothers that's chiming in right now. Um, a lot of people said, why would God allow this? Someone just asked Rose King, why would God allow this to happen? Um, it goes back to the beginning of time of Adam and Eve. There's sin in the world. So people say, why did God allow this to happen? There's sin, and God gives man free will. I think people forget about that. God gives us free will to do whatever we want to do. That's how much God loves us. He gives us the power, the authority. So it's not what God allows. It's just God gives us free will. And it goes back to the beginning of time of sin of Adam and Eve. Um, so Rose, I'm not sure, Rose, do you have a child that's incarcerated? I see you in the comments. And Ellie's on here. Kimberly, Ellie from the group. Elizabeth just had a birthday. She's saying um, to trust God. She's saying that. And then Rose is okay. Rose says yes. Her son is in prison. So you have mothers that's on here. That's what I'm saying, Kimberly. I knew what you posted in the group would help so many people, and I'm so grateful that you posted that in the group. Um, so I truly thank you for uh, being transparent and being not no longer introvert. Because I don't think that was introvert when you posted that, girl. That was an extrovert when you posted that comment.
Yeah, I don't post a lot. I'm always like reading other people's stuff.
Hmm.
It usually breaks my heart when I do read it, but I don't post a lot. But I knew, like, as soon as we had that conversation, I knew I had to post it um, because I did see where he was coming from. But again, as a mother, it's hard to take that into account. That it's not our fault, especially when you have a young child who incarcerated and a young child who's sentenced to life in prison. Like, why should we not feel guilty for that? Because my son was 17.
Hmm.
His brain wasn't fully developed. I think a lot about what kind of man he could have ended up being. Like, he could have, like done that when he was younger, but then decided like that wasn't the life for him. But he didn't get that chance, and he may never be able to get the chance to be the good man that I know he is inside.
But he
May-
still can be in prison.
yeah,
Yeah, but I don't want him to be that man in prison. I want him to be that man with his family. And I get what you're saying, like,
Mhm.
but like
but
I want to I want to be able to see his full potential
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
outside of prison.
Outside of the prison. Okay. Kim, you were about to say something?
well, I was going to say the same thing. I there are millions of people in prison and they need help. And what if our sons have a job to do there? They could use their stories for the people that aren't in as long as our children are. My son's not in for life, but for a majority of his life, he will be. I pray I'm alive when he comes home, but one day he probably will. Um, but he has to. There's people that need help right where he is, and he can either use this opportunity or lose it.
Hmm.
And I'm encouraging him every time I talk, every time I see him. What's your next move? who needs you right now. And that's important too. And just as the moms needed to hear, I mean, if you hadn't existed in this podcast, I wouldn't have known other moms were going through this because nobody talks about it. It's taboo. It's secret. It's nobody writes on Facebook, oh, guess what?
I'm mad at God.
Right.
Moms. Oh, I do.
Oh. Yeah, Kim, yeah, you do. But I mean, some people don't because they don't want to see the comments,
Yeah, I have to be really careful just because of my job.
Because of her job. Yeah, right.
And even I'm the first person I know was somebody that's incarcerated. It's mortifying. It's the worst, and it's horrible. But I've been thinking, like, why aren't there face-to-face groups where women in my area or families or whoever can't just get a cup of coffee and say, hey, are you okay? I think there's a lot of room here where us as moms need to step out and make a difference, even if it's just a support group for each other, like Tiffany did. But maybe more so, like it would be face to face, because this already exists. Because I think we need it so desperately.
Yeah, Crystal says, you do. I get Crystal Curry. She's on here, Kim.
Yeah, we were, her and I went out to dinner and we were talking about just that
I love that.
We should find people in our area because we live not too far from each other.
Oh, God, I love that.
So we've gotten together a couple times, but we were talking about trying to find other women in our area to get together, go out to dinner, maybe have a retreat. I've seen a couple retreats that have happened in areas and things like
the mountains. That. There you go. You got Crystal. I love me some Crystal. Crystal crazy, but I love me some Crystal.
She's awesome.
Crystal, you crazy in a good way. Love you, Crystal. No, that would be. Ellie just asked where in Pennsylvania. She asked where are you at? Kim? Said Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh. Okay, because Ellie, Elizabeth is another person that that I've connected to as well. And maybe that might be my assignment. I think I'm getting people together and kiki have a good time, and then maybe that's what some of y'all should do is start something in your town, because Kimberly, that would be great if you and Crystal can start something. We're a hiking crew, and that would be great. A hiking crew. I don't know, something for moms with kids in prison, just to, I don't know, get out there and scream. Have you ever screamed out there though in the mountains? Because I have. Yeah. Okay, because I've been hiking too with Marley. Now Marley might have looked at me crazy, but I got screaming out there in the mountains. Yes. That is so good. I love that. People are saying yes, let's get together. Okay, Crystal or Kimberly, I think you started something, because now people are Kimberly, if God is answering you right now, girl. He is literally answering you right now in these comments. People said, oh my God, Crystal she says, I'm screaming. I need to be in the mountains. Girl, Kimberly, look at God. You may be starting something right now. You got people in the comments saying, yes, I live in Atlanta. Yes, I can. Girl.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome to start something.
I've never been ashamed to talk about my situation. But as you know, the first podcast you and I did with everybody else, I didn't want to go to that because I'm such an introvert. I knew I wasn't going to be comfortable. I didn't know anybody that was there. That's very hard for me. My voice of reason, my daughter, she told me, Mom, go. You need to do this. So I went. I was very nervous. Everybody else was talking and stuff. I ended up just going off by myself. But I ended up doing it. And meeting you guys has made it easier for me to, deal with things, knowing that other people are going through things, even if it may not be the same. So, yeah, I think it would help a lot.
And even the second time. Remember the second time we all met in Atlanta?
Yeah.
You was no longer shy. You was no longer shy, man.
I was a lot more comfortable that time.
You was no longer shy. I love that. I love that. And then Kim, I guess I need to come to Pittsburgh, like, and do something there
Hey.
too, because yeah, I am grateful for all of you ladies in the community. All of you guys trusted me. You have Crystal, Ellie that's on here, Tammy that's on here, Rose is on here. All of you guys trusted me because we were all strangers in the beginning. Like, I didn't know y'all didn't know me. And I'm just grateful that y'all trusted me enough to share your personal story with me, and we keep it in our own private community, which I love that we keep it private in our group and you're able to vent, cry, whatever you want. And I'm just grateful because I created friendships with you. Now, Kim, you're part of my friendship circle, and I love me some Kimberly. So like now, Kim, you're part of our group, and I would love
Yeah.
to be able to get to know you on a personal level, like I know
Likewise.
Kimberly. So I'm grateful for you to trust me to come on a live on YouTube and to share your information, and you're a teacher, and that's a lot, you know?
Yeah.
And then your community, does your neighbors know about your situation?
So I'm lucky that I live about 45 minutes from where I teach.
Okay, so they
So
know. Okay.
that's been pretty private. We had to move. My house was vandalized a little bit. Um, my neighbors stopped talking to me,
Oh,
and my
wow.
daughter was so bullied at school. So now we're in a new district. So it's been calmer right now, which is good because it was really bad for a while. I was afraid to go to Walmart, you know, just
Walmart?
to go out. I was just scared to um, to be confronted. I didn't know what to say. Again, people don't realize when your kid's in prison, they have no idea what's going on. They don't know the when you're me. Even my daughter works at McDonald's. She's in college and works at McDonald's on summers. And do you know people said horrible things to her while she was working? And you think, but we didn't do it. And she's just a kid working to make a couple bucks because she's going to school. It's insanity. And it's so cruel. So moving helped a lot, but it took a big toll financially, and we're still trying to fix this house that we bought up to make it livable. So the ripple effects, I think, will always be there to some degree. But I felt pretty hypocritical being a teacher, and your son's in trouble, and it's big trouble, and it's bad, but it can happen to anybody because,
It
like
can happen to
there's free
anybody.
will, and
Yeah.
we're all humans,
Yes.
and there's no guarantee
There's
of
no.
what's going to
Mhm.
happen. I was watching that horrible case of the Idaho Four, and the man was just sentenced recently, and his mom and sister are sobbing, and my heart just broke for them. And you read the comments, well, how could they sit behind? Because it's their son,
And I
it's
think people
their
forget
brother.
about just because yeah, there was a crime, and I as a mother, yeah, you're going for the victim's family. Yeah, you're sorry for the victim's
Absolutely.
family.
Yep.
But at the end of the people say like both people loses both sides. Like one is burying a child and one
Absolutely.
is a child's going to prison. Both families are devastated.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I went the whole week for my son's trial, and um, the victim's family sat in the same row as me. I cried the whole time. My son would tell me, Mom, like, if you're going to cry, you have to be in the back because you're making it hard for me. Um, and I'm like, well, you're my child, I'm going to cry. But like, we never had an issue. They never said anything negative to me. I don't know about the other families, but I think they could see that, I was hurt for them and for my son. One of the police officers, after my son got sentenced, she came up to me and she told me she's praying for our family. Um, People have said negative stuff, but it's people that don't know us.
Hmm.
Um, the people that do know my son all said they could not believe that he was involved in that, because they knew him. Um, he got arrested at our house, but I held my head high. I take walks in our neighborhood. I didn't stop doing that. I would cry as I was walking, but nobody would come up to me and say anything to me or anything like that. So it was a little different for me. I'm still in the same place we lived in. We did move down a little ways, but it's the same neighborhood.
Same, okay.
Never had any negativity, except for like people that don't matter to us. So
Right. Mm. Man, this was a good episode.
hmm.
This was a really good, healthy, and true, raw honesty that people are scared to say. Christians, non-believers, believers, about being angry with God and how do you get to a place of healing. And Kimberly, we definitely gonna make sure keep you lifted in prayer. I think the more you start the walking in the mountains, your healing could take place, or your healing is taking place now as we speak. I don't know if you dig into the Bible, the people that went through Job, Moses, Jesus went through, and he Jesus. And he died for us, and he Jesus, and he was still asking Jesus, like, "Do you? I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to die for these people, but if it's your will, so let it be done." This the hood version of the Bible, so y'all don't. This the hood version of the Bible. I'm just saying, like, he just
I
like
love
Jesus, like, if you want me to die for these people, go ahead, but I really don't want to. Like, that's
that.
like for real. But he did it anyway. So I do pray and hope that you do get healed in the process. And I'm the one thing you did say that blesses my heart though, Kimberly, is that you and your son relationship has grown. That right there to me is I know you feel some type of healing just in that alone.
Yeah, a lot
Now,
of healing in that.
yeah, that's yeah. And then Kim, I'm not sure was your relationship with your son, was it broken or was it already good and you yeah, like
It was I just walked on eggshells. We didn't really have a relationship of substance, and
okay.
now it's a phenomenal relationship. And I'm so grateful. I feel like I have my son back.
And see, the devil mean it for your bad.
Yeah.
God makes it for your good. Me and Damiani had a good relationship. And then, we got to argue in prison. When he was in prison, I was cussing him out. And yeah, see, I didn't make the right choices, but he was getting cussed out. But now um we're stronger than ever. We've always had a strong, tight relationship, but this is like we solid. And I'm grateful for everything that God is doing with him and through and with me. And we're building that mother and that son relationship. And I am asking him to forgive me for the mistakes I made. I did ask him to forgive me. And for me, I did ask him, have you guys ever asked your sons this question? Like, how can I improve as to be a better mother to you? What does a healthy relationship looks like between me and you? Have you guys ever asked your son that question?
Mhm.
That's a good
No,
question
I
to
think
ask.
it's just a like a given now because he knows that I'm there for him. He
Okay.
knows that he can um, tell me anything. He doesn't. He's very honest with me now,
That's good.
which I appreciate because he knows I'm not going to like judge him or step away. Um, he got in trouble, and he told me that his bunkie lied on him, and he said, "Mom, if I did that, I would tell you I did that. I didn't do it, and I shouldn't have gotten in trouble for it." And I do know that. Like even through all the stuff that my kids did when they were younger and stuff, like they would tell me when they did something wrong, and I know that he knows I'm a safe space, that he can be honest, um, and that he knows I'm always going to be there for him. I do get angry with him. Like,
Yeah.
I tell him there's been times when he's cussed me out, and I tell him, like, we aren't going to talk until you can be more respectful. Um, Please don't call me. Don't write me. When you feel like you're over whatever you're dealing with, then give me a call. And that has helped a lot with our relationship. Just both of us being honest with each other, I think has helped a lot.
That's good. And you're setting boundaries. I hope y'all mama's listening. She's setting boundaries. I like that. I love that. That should be another episode where we talk about boundaries of your child being in prison, because sometimes the sons and daughters step over those boundaries where they call us and ask us for money all the time.
Oh,
And when
I've
you
had to tell him
yeah,
that I will do whatever I can for him, but I have bills. I have responsibilities. I'm not going to go in debt for him. I do see a lot, no judgment, of the mothers who have gone into debt for their children. That's their life, but I refuse to do that.
Mhm.
I refuse to be homeless. I refuse to not have a car to get back and forth to work. Um, yeah, I give him what I can, and he real there. It was tough at first, but he does realize now that you know I need to take care of myself so I can take care of him. So
Wow, this was a powerful episode. We are going to now wind it down. And as the words of, I think it's Sean Kennel from YouTube, he always says land a plane. So we're going to land a plane. I'm stealing that from him, land a plane. So we are definitely going to land it. And you guys have been phenomenal. Before we say goodbye to everybody, what do you want to leave the mothers with? Because we have a lot of mothers on and they're commenting. And I love, and we have Tariq on. I interviewed him a while ago. He used to be in prison and he's doing a lot for the Inglewood area here in California, and I truly appreciate him. Do you guys want to say something to the mothers that are angry, or the mothers who are no longer angry, or just say what you feel that led on your heart to tell a mother that's listening right now with a child in prison?
For me, I would say I go to visit my son. I haven't been in a while, but when I do go visit, there's not many people that get visits. That breaks my heart because that's your child. Like they're going through the hardest time of their life. Why would you not be there for them? Like no matter what they've done, unless they've done something to you that has gotten them in trouble, like why would you not be there for them? Be there for your child, like in whatever way you can. Don't like let your child make you feel guilty and then you do stuff that you really can't do, but be there for them as much as you can. That's my advice.
Kim?
And I would just say that, life is very short, and we have to really just try to take this worst case scenario and just try to find some positive with it in any way, shape, or form. There's no magic ball. We can't go back in time and make it not have happened.
Oh, I
It
wish we
did.
could.
I know, but we can't. So now what we need to do is take it and find our way of making some good out of it. And you're not alone. And I love you all. And if anybody ever just wants to talk, shoot me a message, because I'll always be here.
Same.
Thank you, ladies. I want to just thank you guys. Do not, once I hit end, do not hang up yet. But I want to say, everybody, thank you again for listening to my Child is in Prison Now What podcast. I'm your host, Tiffany Nicole. Mamas, y'all know how I feel, is to love you first and put you first, because you can't help nobody else if you can't help yourself. And I'm all about self-care and self-love. And my next thing I'm about is that if you die tomorrow, when you get to the kingdom, God gonna ask you, what gift or what talent did I give you, and why haven't you fulfilled it? Mothers, figure out what that purpose is, what that talent is, what that gift is, what God has called you for. Because even though our sons and daughters may be serving a 5, 10, 15, 20-year life sentence, there's still life to live, like Kimberly said, and her son said. What are you going to do in that time frame of your child being in prison? I love you, ladies. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love, and appreciate you guys.
Thank you.